everyone, and welcome to our deep dive on Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
A classic.
Yeah, we'll be looking at excerpts from the 1987 edition.
Okay.
Specifically, the author's preface and some choice chapters. Really trying to get at the core of his principles for success.
Yeah.
And of course, we have to touch on some of those fantastic stories and examples.
Oh, for sure.
That really bring the whole thing to life.
They're what makes it so memorable. It's not just theory. Hill spent 25 years researching and interviewing over 500 successful individuals.
Wow.
So it's rooted in real-world experience.
Right from the get-go in the preface, we're thrown into the story of Andrew Carnegie.
Oh, yeah, the steel tycoon.
Entrusting a young Napoleon Hill with, the secret formula for making money.
The secret.
And Carnegie claimed over 500 of the wealthiest people,
including Thomas Edison.
Yeah, used it to build their fortunes.
Wild.
It's like he's handing Hill the keys to the treasure chest,
And what's interesting is Hill emphasizes education wasn't the key factor for these successful people. He mentions Henry Ford, for example, who,
Didn't he not even finish high school?
Yeah, didn't finish high school, built an empire. What set them apart was how they mastered and applied this hidden principle.
That's incredible. Okay, so then Hill jumps into the first principle, desire.
Right.
And tells this story of Barnes, who was so determined to work with Edison.
Not for him.
Not just for him, right.
Yeah.
No, Barnes didn't have, connections or money.
Right.
But his desire was so laser-focused, he knew exactly what he wanted.
That's key. Barnes' story is a great example of how a definite desire can really fuel resourcefulness, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have LinkedIn or networking events.
No.
He created his own opportunity.
How do you do that?
Well, he traveled to Orange, New Jersey, camped out at Edison's lab, and basically wouldn't leave until he got a job.
Wow.
Any job.
Started from the bottom.
Started at the bottom, yeah. And 5 years later, he was Edison's business partner, just like he envisioned.
That's amazing.
It really makes you think, how can you be resourceful in pursuing your own goals? What opportunities are you maybe overlooking?
Wow, that is a powerful question. It's not about wishing, it's about defining what you want and then taking action, even if it means starting small.
Definitely.
Okay, now Hill's next principle, faith.
Yeah.
This is where he brings in the story of R.U. Darby's uncle, who was searching for gold.
Oh, yeah.
Invested everything he had.
Found a promising vein, right?
Yeah, but then it disappeared. So discouraged.
There you go.
He sold his equipment for pennies and went home.
And the guy who bought his equipment
No way.
hired a mining engineer.
Oh, no.
And they discovered the vein was just 3 feet
3 feet?
from where Darby had stopped.
That is heartbreaking.
Talk about lack of faith. If he had just believed a little bit longer.
That's incredible. It makes you think about a time maybe you achieved something you initially doubted. How did that experience shape your belief in yourself? This is the power Hill's talking about.
Right.
He even connects this to the subconscious mind, arguing that if you give it an order with unwavering faith, it'll find a way to make it a reality.
He even used his own son as an example.
Yeah.
Who was born without ears. Doctors thought he would be deaf and mute, but Hill refused to accept this. He instilled in his son this unshakable belief that he would be able to hear and speak.
Did it work?
He used these creative methods to teach him.
Wow.
And his son defied the odds. He became a successful public speaker.
So Hill's unwavering belief actually shaped his son's reality.
That's the idea.
Incredible. Makes you wonder about the power we all have to influence outcomes through our belief.
Right. Absolutely. And faith is a state of mind that can be cultivated.
Okay, so let's move on to specialized knowledge. Hill's pretty clear that knowledge is essential, but it's only potential power until it's organized and put into action.
He says knowledge will not attract money unless it is organized and intelligently directed.
Through practical plans of action.
Through practical plans of action. He uses Edison and Ford again as examples.
Oh, right.
Huge success, limited formal schooling.
Yeah.
They knew success required specific knowledge, the kind that directly contributes to your goals.
It's about being laser focused on acquiring the knowledge that's really going to impact your desired outcomes, right?
Exactly.
Whether that's, formal education, mentorship, self-directed learning, it has to be relevant.
And it's a continuous process.
Yeah.
Learning never stops.
Okay, get ready for this one. The next principle is imagination.
Oh, this is a good one.
Hill breaks it down into synthetic imagination, rearranging existing concepts,
Right.
and creative imagination, bringing entirely new ideas into being.
To illustrate this, Hill tells a story about this old brass kettle that magically produced gold. But the magic wasn't really in the kettle. It was in the idea behind it.
A magic kettle.
So a young man buys this kettle from a doctor who claims it holds a secret for turning iron into gold. He follows the instructions, but nothing happens. Then he finds this hidden message that says you have to add faith to the process.
Interesting.
He follows the new instructions, and the kettle overflows with gold.
That's amazing. So,
Yeah.
the real power came from an idea combined with belief.
Exactly. It's about how imagination is the workshop of the mind. It's where ideas are born, possibilities are explored. Hill even connected this to the emerging field of radio advertising, arguing that it desperately needed new ideas to thrive.
He was ahead of his time.
He was. He suggested that future radio programs would need to turn listeners into buyers,
Oh, wow.
and that sponsors would demand proof their programs not only entertained, but actually drove sales.
He basically predicted the rise of targeted advertising.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He linked these seemingly abstract principles to real-world applications. He understood that success in any area of life relies on the ability to think creatively and generate new ideas.
Now, for one of my favorites, the mastermind.
Oh, yeah.
This is about harnessing the power of collaboration, bringing together a group of like-minded people
Right.
to achieve a common goal.
It works on two levels, economic and psychic.
Okay, break that down for me.
Economically, it's about pooling resources and skills. Psychically, it's about creating a synergy, a harmony of thought.
I see.
Amplifies the power of each individual mind.
So Hill really believed in this, didn't he?
He formed his own invisible cabinet,
An invisible cabinet?
made up of historical figures he admired.
Like who?
Emerson, Lincoln, Darwin, Paine, Edison, Burbank, Napoleon, Ford, and Carnegie.
That's quite a group.
He held imaginary meetings with them every night, seeking their guidance.
Fascinating. So it almost sounds like a prototype for today's vision boards
Yeah.
or manifestation practices.
It does, doesn't it?
It speaks to the power of visualization, surrounding yourself, even virtually, with inspiring figures.
Makes you think. Who would be in your mastermind group?
That's a great question for our listeners to ponder. Okay, now let's get to the 6 basic fears.
A roadblock.
These are the things that hold people back.
Well, desire is the engine. Fear is often the handbrake.
Hill argued that fear of criticism, in particular,
Yeah.
keeps so many people playing small.
He identified them as poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death.
Okay, so starting with fear of poverty.
Hill says this one's the most destructive because it can lead to a whole cascade of negative consequences.
He saw it as a killer of dreams, a poison that prevents us from accessing abundance.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid to be blunt about it. And he was right. You look at something like the Great Depression.
Oh, yeah.
People were so consumed by fear, it became a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Mass negativity and lack of action.
It only made things worse.
So Hill was saying we have to confront this fear.
Yes.
Replace it with a desire for wealth.
It's a call to action. We are not victims of circumstance. We are creators of our own financial destinies.
I get it. So associating with those who demand and receive riches,
Right.
it could really shift your mindset.
Yeah.
But it also seems like it's important to define what riches means to you personally.
Wealth can be multifaceted. It's essential to align it with your values and aspirations.
Okay, let's talk about the fear of criticism.
This is the one that keeps people playing small, afraid to stand out,
Right, terrified of what others might think.
leads to missed opportunities, unfulfilled potential. People stay in unhappy marriages or won't take risks in business.
It's not just major decisions either, right? This fear can seep into everything.
Absolutely. Prevents us from pursuing our passions, even just being ourselves.
So what's the antidote?
Hill stressed, we have to develop a strong sense of self-trust, focus on our goals, and recognize that criticism is often a reflection of the critic's insecurities.
He was a big advocate for authenticity, right? Like, don't let the opinions of others define you.
Don't hold you back.
Exactly. And that's such a powerful message, especially today,
Oh, yeah.
with social media, all the judgment.
Constant bombarding.
It's more important than ever to develop that strong sense of self.
Trust your inner compass.
Okay, the fear of ill health.
This one is often fueled by anxiety about death, financial burdens.
Right.
Hill said people become consumed by hypochondria.
Imagining illnesses,
Yeah.
experiencing symptoms.
And it becomes a cycle. The fear itself manifests into physical symptoms.
So what do we do?
Hill advocated for balance. Take care of your health, but don't let fear dominate. A positive mindset combined with healthy habits can be more effective than dwelling on worst-case scenarios.
Don't obsess, but don't be reckless either, right?
Exactly. Shift your focus from fear to gratitude, appreciate your health while taking proactive steps to maintain it.
Now, the fear of loss of love, this one
can be tough.
can be really painful.
It's rooted deep in our evolutionary history. Primal instincts for survival, procreation.
It can manifest in jealousy, possessiveness, a constant need for validation.
And it can lead to unhealthy relationships, a feeling of insecurity.
That's the solution.
Hill said we need to cultivate a strong sense of self-worth independence. Our value doesn't depend on validation from others.
Love is important,
Yeah.
but it shouldn't be the sole source of our happiness.
Agreed.
Okay, the fear of old age. Hill argued that this fear stems from societal conditioning, that whole idea of aging as decline.
Equates aging with decline, irrelevance.
People dread it, associate it with loss.
Loss of abilities,
Yeah.
financial insecurity.
Isolation.
Hill challenged that perception.
Oh, how?
He argued aging could be a time of wisdom, growth, and fulfillment. Embrace the experience, the lesson.
Instead of fearing it,
Yeah.
embrace the wisdom.
Redefine it. Not an ending, but a continuation.
A new chapter filled with possibilities.
Exactly.
Finally, the big one, the fear of death.
The most universal.
Hill acknowledged that this fear is often amplified by, religious dogma, cultural narratives.
They make death seem terrifying.
Unknown.
He argued this fear is unproductive. Death is inevitable.
So focus on living in the present moment.
Appreciate each moment.
Contribute our talents.
He reminded us that our energy, our consciousness are indestructible,
Even though our bodies.
even if our physical bodies cease to exist.
So embrace the mystery.
The journey continues.
Instead of fearing death, focus on living a life of purpose and meaning.
Exactly.
Now, in addition to those 6 fears,
Yeah.
Hill also brought up a 7th, susceptibility to negative influences. He described it as this subtle, pervasive force that can undermine our
Our success, happiness,
everything, really.
it stems from our tendency to absorb the negativity of others, whether through direct interactions, exposure to news.
Or just allowing ourselves to be influenced by the fears and anxieties of those around us.
It's everywhere.
So we need to be mindful of the information and energy we let into our lives.
Become conscious guardians of our mental space.
So Hill didn't just identify these fears, he offered antidotes.
He did.
For the fear of poverty, cultivate a burning desire for riches.
And associate with those who demand and receive riches.
For the fear of criticism, trust your own judgment. Don't let the opinions of others hold you back.
For the fear of ill health, stop dwelling on illness. Cultivate positive thoughts. Take care of your body.
For the fear of loss of love, be secure in yourself and remember that love, while important, shouldn't define your worth.
For the fear of old age, embrace the wisdom and experience. Continue to pursue your dreams.
And for the fear of death, accept it as a natural part of life and focus on living fully in the present.
It's a roadmap to overcome these fears.
A roadmap to reclaiming our power, to create a life of
Abundance, joy, fulfillment,
right,
shifting our mindset, replacing fear with faith.
taking action.
Which of these fears resonates with you the most?
It's a question that requires some introspection.
Absolutely.
We've covered a lot of ground, but this is just the beginning of our deep dive into Think and Grow Rich.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
Okay, so last time we were talking about fears.
Right.
But this time, let's shift gears and explore how these principles can, actually be put into practice.
Exactly. Let's talk about how to market your personal services.
Ooh, this is where it gets interesting for me. Because, whether you're an entrepreneur or an artist or you work for someone else, being able to market your skills is essential these days.
Hill emphasized that these principles, they apply to job seekers too.
Oh, interesting. So he wasn't just talking about starting businesses.
Not just businesses.
Oh.
He offered a ton of advice on navigating the job market, stressed the importance of planning,
Yeah.
persistence, going the extra mile.
So he saw these principles as universal for anyone looking to advance their career.
Absolutely. He was seeing a shift, even back then, in the dynamics between employers and employees. That old model of adversarial bargaining was becoming outdated,
Right.
He used the example of the railroad and streetcar industries. Used to be public be damned. Right?
That's a stark contrast to how those industries operate today.
Exactly. Competition changed that. Hill argued the same principle applies to employers and employees.
So instead of us versus them, it's about like working together toward a common goal.
Exactly. He envisioned a future where employers and employees see themselves as partners, working together to serve the customer.
So everyone benefits when the focus is on creating value.
He even introduced a QQS formula for effective service: quality, quantity, and spirit.
Okay, break that down for me. Quality and quantity make sense, but what about spirit?
Spirit is the attitude, the demeanor with which you approach your work. Hill emphasized harmonious conduct, cooperation, a genuine desire to provide value. He stressed that Andrew Carnegie, a master of success, placed huge importance on the spirit of work.
So it's not just what you do, but how you do it. Your attitude matters. It's like my grandma used to say, do it with a good heart or don't do it at all.
That's a great way to put it. Skills and knowledge are essential,
Yeah,
but they're only part of the equation.
I see. So Hill also gave specific advice on applying for jobs, right? He talked about crafting a good resume, using your connections, even offering to work on probation to prove your worth.
He encouraged job seekers to be proactive, persistent, and strategic.
Ah.
One of his suggestions was to approach a potential employer with a detailed plan outlining how you could contribute to their success.
That's a great idea. Instead of just asking for a job, you're presenting yourself as a solution.
Exactly. Showcase your value, not just as an employee, but as a potential partner.
Now, Hill also talked about what not to do, didn't he? He had like a whole list of causes of failure.
31 major causes of failure.
Wow, that's a lot. Like what?
Lack of a clear purpose, procrastination, overcaution, even choosing the wrong life partner.
He covered all the bases.
He wanted readers to identify their weaknesses and then take action to address them. It's about taking responsibility for our own success, being honest about where we need to grow.
So it's about recognizing that we have the power to change.
Yes.
But we have to be honest with ourselves.
He also provided this self-analysis questionnaire with 28 questions.
Wow, 20.
In it to help readers assess their strengths and weaknesses.
That sounds intense, but useful. What kind of questions were they?
They covered values, beliefs, habits, relationships, self-discipline. It's a tool for introspection, a way to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself.
He wasn't afraid to make people uncomfortable, was he?
Not at all. He stressed that self-analysis should be an ongoing process.
So it's not a one-time thing, it's continuous.
Revisit those questions regularly, note your progress, identify new challenges, stay vigilant, proactive, committed to growth.
I know Hill was really against making excuses. He saw them as
alibis?
Right, alibis to justify lack of success.
The classic ones, if I had more money, if I didn't have a family. He argued that these are self-imposed limitations, mental barriers.
It's about taking ownership, right, instead of blaming our circumstances.
Exactly. Successful people don't wait for the perfect circumstances. They create their own opportunities.
He used Henry Ford as an example, didn't he?
He did. Ford faced a lot of resistance.
Oh, I bet. When he first introduced the automobile,
people thought he was crazy. But he had this unwavering belief, famously said, I'll belt the earth with dependable motor cars.
And he did.
He did. And Hill contrasted Ford's mindset with those who worked for him. The difference was Ford controlled his mind. Others let their minds be controlled.
So our thoughts really do shape our reality. If we let fear and negativity dominate our thinking, we limit our potential.
Hill's message is clear. Success is a choice.
It's a deliberate decision to take control.
Of our minds, our actions, our destinies. It's about embracing the principles of success, developing the right skills, and persisting.
It's about doing the work.
Exactly. He challenged us to step into our power. We have the potential to achieve anything we set our minds to. It's a message of empowerment.
Okay, so we've talked about Hill's principles for success, but it seems like he also had a lot to say about opportunity itself.
You're right, he did. He dedicated a whole chapter to it, actually exploring where and how to find opportunities, especially in the United States.
He was writing in a very different time, though. Do you think his ideas about opportunity are still relevant today?
That's a great question. He started by acknowledging those freedoms that American citizens have, freedom of thought, freedom of deed, access to a ton of resources and possibilities. He argued that these freedoms create like a fertile ground for opportunity. especially for those seeking, financial success.
So it sounds like he was a big believer in the American dream, that idea that anyone can achieve success through hard work and determination.
He used this simple example: the breakfast of an average American family.
Okay.
He breaks down where each item comes from, like coffee from South America, fruit shipped from Florida,
Right.
to show the web of commerce and innovation that makes it all possible.
Yeah, it's easy to take that for granted. We just go to the store and buy what we need without thinking about all the complex systems behind it.
And he pointed out that this abundance, it wouldn't exist without capitalists.
Capitalists.
Yeah, individuals who have the vision, the courage, and the organizational skills to mobilize resources and create value on a large scale.
So he saw capitalism as a key driver of opportunity.
He did. He acknowledged that there are those who advocate for, alternative models.
Yeah.
But he firmly believed that the United States offers the greatest opportunities for wealth creation because of the freedom and the protections within the capitalist system.
It sounds like he was a strong advocate for free markets and individual initiative.
He was. He challenged those who disagreed to look at the alternatives, arguing that countries with different economic systems often lack the same level of freedom, opportunity, and prosperity.
It's interesting to think about how his views might be perceived today,
Yeah.
given all the debates about income inequality and the role of government.
Absolutely. It's a complex issue,
Yeah.
lots of valid arguments on both sides.
Yeah.
But regardless of your political views, it's important to, understand the historical context in which Hill was writing and how his beliefs shaped his ideas.
Okay, so beyond the system itself, did he offer any specific advice on how to actually identify and seize opportunities?
He did. He highlighted the incredible wealth and spending power of the American consumer. He used examples like annual spending on cosmetics, greeting cards, entertainment,
Interesting.
to really emphasize the potential for those who could tap into that market.
So it seems like he was saying that opportunities are often found in meeting the needs and desires of others,
Exactly. If you can figure out what people want
Yeah.
and provide it, you create value and attract abundance.
He also talked about the dangers of, succumbing to negative influences?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially those that, promote a sense of entitlement or believing in getting something for nothing.
That you're owed something.
Right. He argued those attitudes are incompatible with the principles of success, which require hard work, persistence, and a willingness to provide value.
It's about earning it, not expecting a handout.
True wealth is created through effort, innovation, and serving others.
He didn't mince words, did he? He criticized those looking for shortcuts.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it was government assistance, gambling, anything that promised riches without effort.
He was all about hard work and personal responsibility.
He also warned against being swayed by the opinions of others, particularly those who are, negative, cynical, pessimistic.
Yeah.
He was big on guarding your mind against that kind of influence.
And seeking out those who are positive and inspiring.
So it's not just about working hard. It's also about surrounding yourself with the right people and
Cultivating a positive mindset.
yeah, exactly.
He'll believe we should trust our own judgment and really create a mental environment that supports our growth.
As we wrap up our deep dive into Think and Grow Rich, it seems like Hill's message is ultimately one of empowerment.
You got it.
Yeah.
He believed that success is attainable for anyone who embraces these principles, cultivates the right mindset, and takes action.
It's inspiring, but it's also challenging. It's a call to action to step up and create the life you want.
Break free from those limitations. Fear, doubt, negativity. Step into abundance, purpose, fulfillment.
His work is a reminder that success isn't a destination. It's a journey.
A journey of growth, learning, self-discovery.
So keep exploring, keep experimenting, keep pushing yourself, and never stop believing in your ability to achieve those dreams.
Your journey starts now.
And remember, we're here to support you along the way. Keep diving deep, keep learning, keep growing, and until next time, stay curious.